Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with War Thunder Ground Forces, and today I've got some live stream footage for you from a few days ago featuring the new Simulator Battle event mode. And if you're not aware of this new mode and you're into simulator battles, then you're definitely going to want to check it out while it lasts. It is of course being used to test some possible ideas for the normal simulator battle mode, but I made a video all about it. If you're interested, definitely check it out. I'll have it linked in the description below. But as you can see from that round out, the dreaded 88 Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausführung H1 Tiger, or the Tiger, as I will of course refer to it from here on out. Looking at the action at hand, we're ranging for about 800 meters here on these targets. We managed to flip that guy around and destroying him with a frontal shot. 88mm, easily penetrating and causing massive damage. Which is the nice thing about this gun. If it does pen, it does a whole lot of damage. Now, of course, the crew survivability in this game is still through the roof. But if you are going to hit a tank with something, then this is not a bad choice. I still prefer the velocity on the Panther 75 though. Of course you can see how slow this round is, but again, once it hits, it just really does a lot of damage. You're gonna usually set somebody on fire or potentially kill with one shot, but this guy's taking a little bit more of a beating, but it is allowing us to collect some points, and we finally take him out there with a third. And these Russians were just trying to flank through the tree line, I guess, but we had a good position here. We're secure from the left side, and we're just watching everything come down that tree line. And here's this guy firing a shot at me, hitting the mound in front. Once again, looking to range for about 800 meters as he closes in. Shot out. Looks like it hits the hull. No pen, but doesn't matter. JU 87 with the air support. That guy had no idea what hit him. And, you know, mad respect to simulator battle pilots that are able to come in and identify these enemy ground targets and drop a bomb like that. When I see that, I'm always impressed. What's not impressive, however, is when friendly pilots decide to drop bombs on your own tanks. And yes, this does happen, and it probably happens a little too much. In one example, I was in a Panzer IV with a friendly Tiger. We were really close to each other. We were recapping our base because it was under attack. We eliminated the Russian tank. We're sitting there recapping. JU-87 comes in, bombs us, kills us both. Tiger can't respawn because it's a heavy tank, and I believe I had one more spawn. The pilot apologized. It was an accident. But the problem was he didn't take the time to identify friend from foe. And he killed 2 tanks. You can't do that. If you're not sure, you don't drop bombs. The same goes for tankers. If you see a target in the distance, you're not sure what it is, you don't shoot. You have to be 100% before firing. There's no, well, I guess I'll see what happens. Well, I'll take a look at the kill text. I'll just hope for the best. No, you don't do that. You don't shoot. You can't risk eliminating a friendly. I know it's just a video game, but still, you gotta learn to identify these vehicles. If you don't know your tanks, go into the War Thunder hangar bay, preview the different tanks from the front, the side, the back, the top. Learn your tanks. A lot of these pilots coming into this mode probably don't know tanks. So they're up high, they're moving really, really fast, and they see these little dots on the ground. Oh, it looks like it's moving. I'm going to drop a bomb on it. No, 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 no. Learn to identify these tanks. Learn a little bit about these tanks. And the same can be said for me. If I'm in an anti-aircraft vehicle, or if I have, you know, some sort of weapon mounted on the top of my tank and I can shoot at aircraft, and there's no name tags or anything, I need to learn to identify planes. So I'm going to look at silhouettes of planes. You know, even back in World War II, they would have little cheat sheets, if you will, for tankers and various vehicle operators. They would say, okay, here's a silhouette of this. This is an enemy vehicle. And so if you had a target far away and you couldn't see the colors or insignias of the vehicle, but you kind of just see an outline of something, like, okay, where's my cheat? That looks like a tiger. Okay. Generally speaking, though, everybody knew what a tiger looked like, right? And that's what had me blown away in my examples, because how did this pilot not recognize a freaking tiger? It's a giant box with an 88mm gun on it, right? And I'm not saying it's easy. You pilots have a tough job. You're moving really fast at high altitudes. Really hard to pick out those targets. But if you're not sure, you simply cannot drop bombs. As far as tankers, I haven't really had any friendly fire incidents yet. I don't think there will be too many, because the game actually provides you with a lot of zoom that you wouldn't have in reality. I do want historical gun sights eventually. I don't know when we'll get those, if we'll ever get those. I know that they're definitely requested by the simulator battle community. But until then, I think it's almost impossible to shoot a friendly, because you've got so much zoom information. But let's say you see movement in the trees, but you can't make out the tank. Does that mean you should shoot at it? No. Wait till you ID it. Is it Russian? Is it German? Now, in some cases, there are premium tanks that are captured, like there's a captured Sherman for the Germans. I believe they also have a captured KV. So the only way to tell the difference there is to kind of look at the camo paint jobs and whatnot, and maybe look for iron crosses and things to kind of tell the difference. But beyond that, you know, speaking of camouflage, it's nice to have a mode where these mini-map markers are removed, because the camouflage can actually help you in this game. I do have this nice camo paint scheme on my Tiger. And, you know, I can be in the trees concealed. No invisible tanks, no mini-map markers. It's the best thing ever. A camo that actually does what it's supposed to do in a video game. Imagine that. But anyways, back to this game at hand. Here is where I actually make my first mistake, and a mistake that could potentially be, you know, lethal. Deciding to travel out here, shot rings in from my left side. Now, at the time, during this battle, I wasn't sure where the shot was coming from. Now, looking at this video again, it seems obvious, but the way the particles kind of explode there, it almost seemed like I had seen a tracer from the right, which is why I was looking in that direction at first, then realizing that it was coming from the left, where I start to bring the turret around. Sets me on fire, and at this point we're stuck, and I'm having to repair the tank. Now, the target that's engaging me, eventually we see him. Throws in another shot. That one misses. I start to scan. Another hit. And I see where it's finally coming from. We've got some smoke. Zu-85. So 85mm Russian gun. Engaging at beyond 800 meters. One shot out for range. Shot is short. Elevate. See if we can get him on this next one. Shot out. That's a hit, a little too high. Seems to spray some of the crew, but not enough. You can see another Russian tank driving in. Second shot out. No pen. Now, you can see here we are slightly angled, and he is shooting at me from beyond 800 meters. Last shot in, kills the tank destroyer. Off the top of my head, I don't know the penetration of the 85mm, but I was slightly angled and we were beyond 800 meters, so it made it a little bit more difficult for him to penetrate at that range. We also don't know what kind of ammunition he might have been using. Did we get lucky there? Yes. He did set us on fire once. Real situation. Tank on fire. Crew would have wanted to bail. That guy probably would have had me. In this game, we survive. But moving on, I saw that other T-34 driving past us. I didn't forget about him, so I went to search. Because I figure that he's going to go try to cap our base if he hasn't already been eliminated. So, while I wanted to assault the town, I'm falling back a little bit here. Of course, worried about what could be behind me. Now, heading into this wooded area is dangerous. We need to err on the side of caution. More so than in any other situation, because there could be a tank in there or on the other side of the wooded area waiting to ambush. Most likely, this part of the map, probably not. Probably going for the objective instead. But you still have to be careful in these situations, in this game where there are no more mini-map markers or name tags. The other issue is a lot of people are turning off their grass completely, and they are dropping the draw distance on trees. So it's providing them with a tactical advantage. Some people will, of course, say, hey, you know, I have no choice. I don't have a computer that can run this game properly. I have to turn these things down. I understand where you're coming from. But some people are just turning things off anyway. So I honestly believe that there has to be some sort of compromise. I know that there are other games out there that have come up with different ideas for simulating the fact that there should be some sort of tree cover there without actually showing it. I think Arma does that. Beyond that, the only thing I could suggest would be to have a lockout, 30 to 50% trees and grass minimum, meaning you can't drop anything below that. I'm sure some will still disagree, but I also believe that a lot of people are running other options that they shouldn't be. They go into their settings and they think, well, what's going to give me a better frame rate? Turn these things off, because they're visual things that they understand. When they need to be turning things off like anti-aliasing, post-processing, ambient occlusion, less particle effects. There's so many other things. Turn off your shadows, turn down your textures. So many other things that they could be turning down or off that they're not, because they simply don't understand what they do. Which makes me think that I should actually create a graphics settings guide for people that aren't familiar with those things. Because it's not your fault. You just don't know those things. You're not as into graphical technology as I am, so maybe you don't understand those things and you need some help. Well, maybe I should make a guide about that. But I'm just trying to come up with a compromise, and no, telling everybody else to turn down their graphics as well is not one. This is why we're PC gamers, guys. We're PC gamers because options exist, because we want to run these games at the highest resolutions with all the settings jacked up. If we didn't care about that stuff, then we'd just be playing on consoles where everything's the same, or we'd be playing old games, you know? That's not what we want. It's 2015. This is why we save our pennies, to build these computers to play our favorite games the way we want them to look and run. On top of that, there really shouldn't be too much excuse in regards to running this game properly, because it's a fairly well-optimized game engine. I mean, if you look at World of Tanks, which I believe still lacks multi-core CPU support, this thing's a dream. But anyways, incoming example in regards to the trees. I can't see this target, but he sees me. Now, I'm a big tank. Maybe he has an angle that I don't. Maybe he somehow detected my movement and threw out a lucky shot. Might not have anything to do with the trees. Not gonna say that it is, not gonna say that it isn't. But he sees me, I can't see him. At most, I maybe see his muzzle flash or some smoke from firing. But I can't properly engage the target. I try to move behind cover. Thankfully, I had the front of the Tiger facing the enemy. He was unable to get a shot into me. So I wait. I want to look for movement. Even looking back at this video, I still never see the target. But I'm wondering, will he come straight through? Will he sit? Or will he flank? I'm always worried about flanks, which is why I'm always checking them. Remaining perfectly still, looking for any kind of movement within the trees. But then I hear his engine. So we turn around, and I see his turret. By the way, you can hold down the C key to look around without moving your turret. I notice a lot of people asking about that. Bring the frontal armor around. We don't want to get hit in the weak rear or side armor. Shot out. Target on fire. That probably would have been far more devastating. But he puts it out. Next shot, kind of in panic. Aiming towards his turret. Sort of deflected there by that armor and the gun itself, which received some damage, I believe. Next shot, though, I know I want to go for the hull and try to finish him off. Gun elevation. He's done. And at this point, I'm still thinking that there's somebody in the woods. I wasn't sure if that was the guy that was shooting at me or if he had a friend that went around that could have been on voice comms or something. Who knows? But I then realized that that was actually the last tank of the game. Hostile team has lost all of its vehicles. And so that's that. Successful match in the Tiger. And honestly, the Tiger tank in this event, to me, it's easy mode. You've got a lot of armor up front, especially if you angle it. You've got an effective 88mm gun. The Tiger makes a great sniper. It's not nimble. You know, it's not quick. It turns really slow. You've got slow turret rotation, which is why you don't want to get caught in a close quarters brawl. You don't want to get stuck in an urban environment. If you can help it, stay out, hull down, far away from your enemy, and let them have it. Learn to range find. That's the secret to success in this Tiger, let alone this game. Outside of arcade mode, of course. Here you can see 5 kills, one of which I don't think we got to see because it was before I started the video recording. But a very effective match, and similar to a lot of the matches that I've actually had within the Tiger, I think this event is playing to my strengths. A lot of which comes down to using cover and concealment, things that you couldn't use before with the minimap markers the way they were or are in the other modes. Which is why I really hope that this gets implemented in normal simulator battles as soon as possible. Because even though there's brand new American tanks to play, I find myself wanting to just play this mode no matter what. So I've held off on my US tanks just to play this mode because it's so much fun. But I think it's still going on. They keep extending it, which is nice. Hopefully it lasts for a longer amount of time and eventually gets into SB so we can play with all the tanks anytime we want. But it's been great to play this the way it is, so I'm looking forward to more. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, really hope you enjoyed this look at War Thunder Ground Forces. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will definitely see you on the next one.